is when the Lions travel to Arizona. And I have Goff in a lot of fantasy leagues. I was big on the Lions. And it's been frustrating with Goff so far. He's been moving the ball really well. He already has over 500 passing yards on the season, but he only has 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. I thought he would get right last week. It didn't really happen. But I'm holding out for it again this week. It should be another really high scoring game. And Goff is not the kind of guy it's not like he's a complete unknown rookie. Like right now, so far, he's 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. I don't really see that. I don't see any reason why that would continue. And he's got so many great options around him. I think he's going to get back on track this week. And then on the other side of the ball with the Arizona Cardinals, we've seen a complete dud of a game out of Marvin Harrison, and then a complete monstrous game where he had 130 yards and basically didn't even play in the second half. They didn't need to do anything. They were like the Saints. So I'm just kind of curious on like how's it going to be? How are the Cardinals going to look going forward? Is it probably somewhere in between the first 2 weeks, but that's something I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah. I definitely think the matchup with the Bills week 1 was a factor in what the Cardinals offense that we saw week 1. Because if you look at what the Bills have done this year in just 2 weeks, they basically playing, 2 safeties and not letting anything get over the top. Because last Thursday night, we saw Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle get held in check. So now all of a sudden I'm looking at Marvin Harrison's week 1 4-yard game and thinking that's not so bad because they also did that to Tyreek Hill. So obviously I'm not expecting Marvin Harrison to have 130 yards and 2 touchdowns or whatever he had every week. But I do think that's closer to, what we were expecting going into the season. I had him as my number 8 wide receiver preseason. I'd probably take Nico Collins ahead of him now, but other than that, I think he's still probably top 10 going forward.
I would love to take Nico Collins over him. Nico Collins is the number 1 receiver in fantasy right now, so I would love to have that.
And real quick, where do you guys have Harrison versus Neighbors ranked now 2 weeks into the season? I had Harrison a little ahead at the beginning. Now I'm giving the nod to Neighbors.
Neighbors, baby. I'm for Neighbors before. I'm for Neighbors now. Neighbors are number 4 receiver in Dynasty on fantasy football in general after 2 weeks. So I'm happy to see that.
If Neighbors gets to play Washington every week, I do think he has the potential to finish as wide receiver 1 total of everybody this year. But we'll see. I think both look good. I'm not going to overreact over 2 games. I would still, if I had to do a dynasty draft today, I'd still probably take Harrison over Neighbors. I think Arizona's offense is set up to smash it. This week looks good. Buffalo is probably going to end up being their toughest matchup of the entire year. Not only is Buffalo, to Zach's points, their defense, the way they play is good, but it was also bad weather. The only thing that slightly scares me with Harrison is still only had 4 catches. He did have targets. I think it was 7 or 8, but it was still only 5 catches on the year. If that trend continues, then I think we could start to say it's definitely going to be Neighbors for this year.
Well, I guess part of the 4 catches was just they quit throwing the ball really early. I mean, he got
4 catches in half a game, basically.
Yeah.
Somebody who has Harrison a lot. He had chances in the second half, and Murray missed him twice in the end zone. Should have been at least an extra touchdown, if not 2, if he runs, hot. So they didn't completely stop throwing the football in the second half. I think it was more of maybe Kyler and the offense tried to get other people involved.
Yeah, I think that's the real difference there. Like Kyler's just doing his job as a quarterback, but I feel like Daniel Jones thinks he's going to get fired if he doesn't give Neighbors his 10 targets.
Well, who else is he going to throw the ball to over there? What other way are they going to move the ball?
You don't think he's going to throw the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, it's look at Neighbors and then Wan'Dale. That's every play.
When they played a competent team week 1, they pretty much held the entire, the Giants offense stunk. So I'll be curious when they play competent teams, what happens. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we projected him to be okay. He was drafted as a probably top 20-ish wide receiver, pretty much most sites. So
But-
we'll see. I think both are going to be great.
I will say, I mean, passing across the entire league is down, and these guys are rookie receivers, and they're both doing pretty well in their first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Hey, speaking of
both
people,
these guys look great, but the Arizona Cardinals haven't been the only Jekyll and Hyde team the first 2 weeks of the season. Another Jekyll and Hyde team is the Alice Cowboys.